We're back. That's right. Wanted to do an update because on Saturday I forgot to talk about what happened during the city county meeting. And plus, Jesse Brown is acting like a little bitch right now on Twitter. So it got me thinking, oh, wait a minute. We haven't really talked about this. So we're just going to do a quick recap of what happened at last Monday's full city council meeting. So it was an interesting day because I haven't been to a full council meeting in like, I don't know, 2 months because of the campaign. And go figure that this one was during like the first snow of like, late 2024. Roads were crap. People don't know how to drive. A bunch of third worlders that somehow got their license. I don't know how, but they're able to drive. They do not know how to drive in icy or snowy weather. And I thought I wasn't even going to make it on time. I ended up getting there with, 20 minutes to spare. And I thought to myself, oh, wait a minute. These people are never on time. So go figure. So if the next full council meeting, when they announced it, is like, hey, don't forget, tonight at 7 o'clock, full council meeting, what you should do is comment on it and be like, are you guys actually going to show up on time? Because I don't think they have ever showed up at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So it's one of my pet peeves, actually, is being on time for things. It's very disrespectful to everybody else's time. But not a whole lot happened. I just want to talk about like 4 different proposals or 4 main talking points that happened during the council meeting. So during one of the committee meetings from like a week and a half ago, there was a proposal to basically not introduce like special resolutions to where it's going to be like extreme on the far left or the far right. It was like, hey, let's just make sure that whatever we do, we can both agree on. And I was like, wait a minute, is this because of Jesse? And come to find out, that was the reason why. And if you forgot, Jesse last month at the full council meeting that I was not at, thank God, man, it would have smelled crazy in there with all those pro-Palestinian people. He introduced a ceasefire, obviously, for Palestine. Complete dipshit. Focus on your own district. Let's not focus on a country that throws gay people off of roofs and sets them on fire and stones women if they look at a man while she's married. Yeah, let's focus on that, right? Let's not focus on the problems that are happening in District 13. The people of District 13 are absolute dopes for voting for him. I said it when he got elected. You had Zach Adamson, who was really bad, and then you dropped a couple levels to Jesse Brown, and everybody was like, oh, well, we'll see. I'm like, listen, this guy's a dope. We'll know. Sure as shit, I was right. So anyway, there were a couple of amendments which we'll talk about, but one of them was like speeding up the whole process of basically like when they're introducing these proposals that will go into committee. And I thought it was great. It was from Josh Bain that when they had the proposal to, what special resolutions you're going to have, there was amendment, which was like speeding up the whole process, which I thought was great because there was one time where it was like 15 or 20 minutes that I don't know who reads it, but whoever was reading it, it took them like 15, 20 minutes because there were so many of them. And Josh Bain was like, why do we need to keep doing this? Like, it's pointless. Like, we already know what's going to be on the agenda for the committee meetings. And some of the Democrats did not like it. And it was because of transparency. I'm like, well, let me tell you what, Democrats, I have emailed a lot of you a couple of times, and I have never heard anything back. All right, and that is the truth. Jessica McCormick, Fiona McCormick, she has blocked me on Facebook. Jared Evans blocked me on Facebook. I have emailed every single city councilor, and only like 3 of them have actually responded back to me. One of them does not like me at all, and I can tell you right now, it's on the right. All right, one of the city councilors does not like me that much. And I'll get like one like smarty response, and then I'll respond back to him. Won't hear anything back. I won't. You know who you are. You know who you are, all right? And I know we will see each other in person, and I will ask you about it, all right? So that was one of them, and we'll talk about that in a second. But there was one other proposal, and it was about a TIF area right across the street from Gamebridge, and Simon's like development arm. I think it's Boxcar Development. They were going to destroy the building. If I remember, they were going to destroy the building, build a hotel, and then they're going to have a catwalk that connects the Gamebridge so they can sell like VIP passes, basically. And it was going to be like a music event center too, that was going to hold 1,000 people, maybe more, maybe 1,000 to 4,000 people. But my whole bitch about it was like, Simon's has a lot of money. There's no reason why they need to use a TIF for this whole thing. And it's just so they could kind of get less taxes. I won't go into the weeds on how a whole TIF thing works because we've talked about it a couple of times. Maybe I'll make a whole video on TIFs and how dumb they are. But basically, the only winners out of the whole thing are the developers. If the whole thing goes belly up, the taxpayers are still on the hook for it. It's a good idea when it works, but like it's a gamble because when it doesn't work, it's not the developers or the people that own it that are taking the risk. It's the taxpayers that are taking the risk. Rob Kendall likes it because the one time that he did it, it actually worked. You'll see in Chicago, they like never work over there. It's just developers. But anyway, Jesse talks about it when if anybody had a comment on it.
Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to thank Mickey Shuey from the IBJ for publishing a piece about this development on November 12th.
Look at Andy Nielsen just mean mugging him.
Development group.
Look at him. What the fuck are you doing, man? Look. What are you doing?
The development group poised to receive incentives from the city tonight was led by the Simon family. The Simons are already one of the wealthiest families in the state. According to Forbes earlier this year, their net worth was over $11 billion already.
And that, when I was in the audience, and I'm like, yeah, he's right. I don't agree with Simon getting all this money for it. Like, they have plenty of money. They could do this whole thing themselves.
And so as such, I find it very inappropriate to provide tax breaks and other incentives to help the wealthy make even more money. I do think that tax increment finance deals and bonds, like the ones being discussed tonight, have a point, and that point is usually to close the gap in terms of being able to finance a deal. When developers have existing money, then I think that they should put their own money up to be table stakes in the bet on whether this development will pay off.
And I completely agreed with that. I was like, all right, can't believe it. It's the apocalypse right now. Me and Jesse agree. But like all comments from Jesse Brown, there always is a but.
I think it likely will. I think it'll be good for the city, but I don't think they need encouragement from us. I did want to say, I contemplated making this a question that I would ask, but frankly, I was going to vote no regardless, and I wanted to mention this in good faith. But for this and for future taxpayer-supported development, I would also expect to see firm commitments by developers that they would use exclusively union labor, both for the contractors and subcontractors performing construction, but then also for the staff and contractors at the future venues being created. I hadn't seen any commitments to that effect here. Like I said, regardless, I'd likely be voting no, but I would like to see that in the future as well. Thank you.
This absolute fucking dope. This is what happens when look. Jesse's getting fat too. Okay, Bubba Brown. Bubba Brown at it again, and he claims to work out all the time. What are you working on? Eating? You eating your feelings away? The ketamine not working there, cowboy? Anyway, okay, so he wants to have nothing but union labor to knock down the building, rebuild it, get everything taken care of, but he also wants nothing but union labor to staff the whole joint. Okay, well, you're an idiot. I almost guarantee Jesse has never worked at a union, so he has no idea what he's talking about. He's just been one of those dipshits outside with a picket and be like, hey, man, we're with you, bro. We're with you. Ass Clown Brown at it again, being a big dumb dipshit. And right after this happened, of course, I'm in the audience and I'm scanning the whole room. Leroy Robinson and Maggie Lewis look at each other and they're just chuckling the entire time. They're like, this dope, this big fucking idiot. And I agreed with them. I hardly ever agree with Leroy and Maggie, but you know what? That was funny. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. So after that, I don't even know what order it came in, but there was an a proposal. This was the proposal. You couldn't have anything extreme left or extreme right. It had to be agreed on that there's going to be a special resolution. And of course, Josh Bain, as you can see, there was a lot of this going on right now between Bain and McCormick, which I thought was really interesting. McCormick voted no again on Josh Bain's amendment, so he brought it up during committee, but then apparently he brought it up during the full council meeting. And I thought that was a really good idea by Bain, because not only does it shows like who is okay with streamlining all this, but also now the entire room has the chance. It's like, well, maybe it wouldn't go through committee, but maybe it'll go through full council. I think it was a ballsy move by Bain, and I thought it was a great idea too. Because now all the cards are on the table. It's not just committee, it's everybody. Unfortunately, Fiona McCormick voted no on it because she just wants to sit her fat ass right there and sweat the whole time. Good thing it's winter out right now. She doesn't have a fan on her right now. Plus, she was dressed like a fucking slob. You are a twice elected city councilwoman, and it looks like you just left the gym. Everybody else is dressed to the nines. This has been my pet peeve for a very long time. If you are at a full council meeting, I will give you a little leeway if you're at a committee meeting, but if you're at a full council meeting, that's when you step up. That's when basically like Avengers Assemble, basically. And it's like, but this is when you dress to the nines. Like, I'm in front of everybody. I'm here with my team. We're representing the city as one whole group, and I'm going to dress to the best. Of course, Allie Brown wasn't there. I don't think Jared Evans wasn't there, and there was one more person who wasn't. Paul N.A. He wasn't there either. There were 3 out of the 25 that were not there. But of course, Jesse had to talk about it.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just briefly wanted to mention that although I support many of the changes in 370, there are a few changes in this amendment to the ordinance that, to me, lower the benefit that we have as a city of having 25 unique counselors with 25 unique points of view representing unique districts, and reduces it to the need for a counselor to have majority support before something even comes to the floor for a vote.
Hold on.
I don't think that's very democratic.
Hold on. What did he just say? What did he just say?
To the floor for a vote. I don't think that's majority support before something even comes to the floor for a vote. Reduces it
one more time. Hold on. One more time.
Representing unique districts. And reduces it to the need for a counselor to have majority support before something even comes to the floor for a vote. I don't think that's very democratic, and I think that there's no sense in there being 25 individual counselors if we were to proceed that way.
So he actually doesn't believe in democracy. And back to my video from like 2 weeks ago when we were talking about this. I talked about like constitutional republic versus democracy. And what was the key feature of democracy? Majority rule. Decisions are made based on the will of the majority, either directly or indirectly. And this is the one thing that Jesse constantly talks about and Democrats talk about. Is like, what about democracy? So for him, and this is what everybody has to remember too, this is the whole point of why I'm even bringing this up. When it's benefiting them, they will be like, oh, see, it works. When it's not benefiting them, they will bitch about it. This is all about power. And they'll just use all these different words to try and trick people and be like, what about my democracy? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is what you wanted for democracy. Well, I don't like it. Dipshit Brown, Bubba Brown, Ass Clown Brown, at it again, being a giant hypocrite who has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. His brain is broken. It's fried from all the ketamine. The apple didn't fall far from the tree. Brown just needs to just drop out now. Resign. Get out of here. We'll bring back Adamson. At least he's predictable. Maybe he's learned his lesson that he needs to focus on the people and not his corporate donors. So that was really funny, obviously. It was kind of funny, too, watching Andy Nielsen mean mugging him again. Look at that. Look at those mean mugging eyes right there. And even Gibson's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why are you talking about this? It is very funny.
There are a few changes in this.
Very funny. So, there are one more thing that I wanted to bring up. And I don't know why this is even being brought up, but it's about billboards. There was a committee meeting from like a week and a half ago, and they were talking about billboards. And then during the full council meeting, Gibson wanted to go back to committee for it. And I do not know what the big deal is about this whole thing. There's got to be something that's going on that I'm missing. I asked a couple of elected officials, and I was like, why are we even dealing with this? And they're like, I have no idea. This seems to be something on the Democrat agenda, on the Democrat Party agenda, and not exactly sure. It's like we have other things to worry about than fucking billboards. But it is interesting because there was this company called Reagan Outdoor Advertising, and they give money to the left and the right. I haven't checked their campaign reports in a minute, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it either. I haven't really looked that deep into it. I don't understand the whole point. It's like we got to worry about crime or property taxes or everything, infrastructure maybe. Hey, why are we even talking about this whole thing? But hey, you know what? Democrats will Democrat. That's all I can say. But that's all that really happened. We were out of there in less than an hour, which was really nice because the weather was really crap and it was cold as shit. Metropolitan committee meeting happened tonight. I'll be doing that video this week. And if you're still watching, don't forget, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, the Witty Review Show will be on. We will be talking about Vision Zero, or as I call it, Zero Vision. So, until next time.